Hi guys, Ciara here. Greetings from Berlin. And I wanted to jump online to share with you some of the reflections I have from my university reunion. Yes, I'm now at that age where I go to university reunions. And it was a really interesting experience as a careers coach as I am now, seeing how people navigate that space and that big question of, oh, so what do you do? And all the pressures that can come along with that. And to be honest, I kind of had mixed feelings about going back to this reunion. On the one hand, I was really looking forward to seeing the people that I loved then and that maybe I was still in touch with now, or in some cases had lost touch with. And also just kind of curiosity, who's made it big, who's met Obama. But on the other hand, being more serious, I knew that there would be a degree to which people were maybe going to be measuring you up, like, what have you done in the last 10 years and where are you now? And, what have you got to show for yourself? And maybe checking themselves against each other, having that social yardstick of who's made it and who's got the most to show for the last decade or 12, 15 years that they've been working. And this is something I see a lot with my clients. It's this confusion or this overlap between what we do and who we are, and also how we're seen. And so often it's our job description, our title, that we look to define us and give us a sense of validation that we're important and making a contribution in society. And that's great if you're doing a job that people understand and, intrinsically respect, like being a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. Those things can really define you. But if you're not doing something that people understand, or you are, but it's not really you, and you think, yes, I am, an accountant, but actually I would much rather be a musician, or yes, I work in IT, but actually I'm more of a designer, or you just feel that your talents and values aren't really represented by the work that you do. Whenever you're asked to answer that question, oh, so what do? You feel this sense of internal conflict because what you do isn't really who you are. And this is something that people really, really struggle with, and it can be really hard to let go of the social expectation or identity that people craft around their job. And I can totally relate to that myself. I mean, believe it or not, I used to have a very sensible job myself. I was a civil servant, so that's about as secure a job as you can get, certainly in the UK. And not only was I a civil servant, I was a civil servant with magical powers because I was a diplomat, and that meant I had diplomatic immunity when I was serving abroad in foreign countries. And so when I would tell people what I did, I would see how often they were really impressed, and they, made all these positive assumptions about me that I must be really smart and have gone to the right universities and be really capable and, be at a certain elite level. And, in some ways I tick some of those boxes. In other ways I have a very untraditional background in terms of my demographic background to be a diplomat. But there were certain kind of positive feedback that I'd get from that career choice. And then things changed. Because I changed, and when I transitioned from being a diplomat and decided I wanted to become self-employed, I would see how people reacted to me very differently. Some of them at least. They wouldn't automatically assume that I was important or that I was responsible or that I was someone that they should be kind of cozying up to for favours in that same way. And they didn't necessarily understand what careers coaching was or the freelancing work was I did at the time. So I didn't get that automatic respect that I had been used to. And that can be really tough on us if we're used to having our ego or our identity built around what we do. It can be really hard to think about who we would be if we didn't do that job anymore. Hi there, whoever's watching. Send me a heart so I can see who you are, or say hello. And so if you're someone who is thinking about making a careers change, what can you do? How can you navigate this space of changing your identity as well as changing your job? And while I was at this reunion, I was asked by someone, what are the qualities you see most commonly required to be able to navigate that jump most effectively? And hands down, I would say two things: honesty and courage. It takes an act of radical honesty to really look at your job in your career and who you are and who you want to be, and see how much those two things match up. Are you happy? And if not, why? Is it because maybe you're not really working in alignment with your values? Maybe there are talents or skills that you have that aren't really valued in the work that you do. Or maybe your job's great and the people you work with are great, but you just have another side to you, or a creative impulse or desire to put something out there into the world that you can't fulfill in your current job, however great it is. And so it takes real honesty to look at that and decide, okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing now, things are going to be the same 10 years from now, and that's not acceptable to me anymore. And so that brings me to the second point, courage. It takes a lot of courage to go from our predictable comfort zone or a job where we have already built something, built a level of standing and expertise in something. It takes a lot of courage to start out in a new field, or a field where we have some knowledge and passion, but we don't yet have the same level of track record. And so that's what I help my clients with. And that's why it's so important to... Oh, hey Marina, nice to see you. Hope you're well. Hey there, you're in Berlin, right? We need to go salsa dancing. That's one of my passions too. But so I get back on track. You have to be courageous, not just in the sense of making a change, but in the sense of making the right change. So, for instance, this is a conversation I had with someone, if you're a lawyer whose true passion is art and you'd love to have a career around art, doing the sensible choice, or the choice that most careers coaches would probably advise you to do, the sensible choice might be to become a lawyer in the art world, in art deals. But if that's not what you really want, if what you really want is to be an artist, then only going halfway there isn't going to be motivation enough for you to sacrifice everything you've already built in your prestigious and hard-earned legal career. So it's just not going to happen. And if you keep asking yourself, why haven't I made the change? It's probably because you're not really owning up to what it is that you really want. And that takes courage and honesty. And that's the work I do with my clients, taking a really honest look at who they are and how that lines up with their job and what it is that they truly desire, and then working up the courage to get them to that desire. And we don't stop there. This isn't just about, coming up with ideas. This is also about implementation. So when I work with people, we work together for 6 months, because that's how long it takes to really transition into a new career, particularly if you're starting your own business for the first time, or really wanting to increase your profits in your new business. So we don't just talk about it, we actually come up with an implementation plan and put that on a timeline. So you can see light at the end of the tunnel, and you can see a time by which you could exit your corporate career if that's what you want to do. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love to hear from you. Currently I'm working with people who are, have their own jewelry lines, or are managing artists in the music industry, or developing their own homewares, or working as interior stylists and building that business. The list goes on. And those are the people I love to work with, people who I really connect with because of their wide interests, their probably multicultural background, or maybe they're quite international in their mindset, so they have a lot of interests and a lot of experiences that they really want to bring together into a newly defined career. So if that's you, then I'd love to help. And I have something called the Career Rebel program, which is specifically designed for high-achieving people who've already achieved a lot in the first third or half of their career, but know that there's more for them. There's more joy, there's more creativity, there's more growth, and there's more fulfillment that could come in a career that you have to be really bold to go and claim. And it's not for everyone, so people who are really honest and courageous. So if that's you, then now's the time to talk. I have 2 spots left on this program, and I will be raising my prices in August. So if you're interested in this and seeing if this could be the right fit for you, then I'd encourage you to send me a message or apply for a complimentary consultation. I'll put the link in the comments below or in the text of this Facebook Live, and we'll see if it's a good fit. Like I said, it's not for everyone. It's people who know that they want to change, and they want to change now, and they're going to be bold about making decisions and real changes in their life. So if this speaks to you, then I'd love to hear from you. Bye.